All right, I'm back at the lake house, aka my Midwest version of the summer house. And while I wasn't in the desert the last 2 weekends, mentally, I was absolutely at Coachella. Because if you're in marketing and you weren't watching Coachella, you missed one of the greatest real time case studies in modern marketing. And I'm not talking about flower crowns and fringe jackets, I'm talking about brand strategy, influencer economics, cultural relevance, and yes, reputational risk. So today we're breaking down what Coachella teaches us about marketing. And trust me, there's a lot to unpack. Let's just call it what it is. Coachella is no longer a music festival, it's a content factory. It's basically the Super Bowl of influencer marketing. Except instead of a 30-second ad costing $7 million, you got thousands of influencers creating millions of pieces of content for free, or at least for access. Think about it. Brands aren't just sponsoring stages anymore. They're sponsoring moments, VIP experiences, private parties, exclusive brand houses, invite-only activations. And what do they get in return? Content, reach, cultural relevance. But here's the first marketing lesson. Access is the new currency, not impressions, not clicks, access. Because when people want to be associated with your brand, they'll create marketing for you. Now, let's talk about the return of Justin Bieber, or as the internet called it, Bieberchella. Here's what's fascinating. This wasn't just a performance. This was a strategic re-entry into culture. And there's a key nuance here that marketers should not ignore. Music rights matter, content ownership matters. Because what Bieber did, whether you realize it or not, is navigate legacy catalog, streaming economics, performance rights, and audience expectations. And he blended old hits with a new narrative. That's not just music, that's brand management. And here's the takeaway. Your past content is an asset. If you know how to repackage it, businesses forget this all the time. You're sitting on old blog posts, case studies, testimonials, and you treat them like expired milk instead of what they really are. Evergreen IP waiting to be remixed. Bieber didn't start from scratch. He reintroduced himself. That's marketing. Now, let's talk about the GOAT of reinvention, Madonna. At 67 years old, she walks onto the Coachella stage alongside Sabrina Carpenter and performs Like a Prayer. And the internet reaction? Mixed. Some people said the crowd didn't even know the words. Ouch. But here's what marketers get wrong. They see that and think failure. It's not failure, it's strategy. Because Madonna wasn't there for nostalgia, she was there for relevance. She timed that appearance with the launch of new music. She inserted herself into a younger artist's audience. She created conversation. And guess what? We're talking about it right now. Relevance is not about being recognized. It's about being discussed. Let me say that again. Relevance is not about being recognized. It's about being discussed. Madonna understands something most brands don't. You have to borrow relevance before you own it. That's why partnership matters. That's why collaborations matter. That's why influencer strategy matters. Because if you're trying to reach a new audience, you don't build it from scratch. You plug into it. Let's go deeper on influencers. Because Coachella has officially become the Influencer Olympics, or some people call it the Influencer Super Bowl, easy for me to say. Everywhere you look, get ready with me videos, brand-sponsored outfits, behind-the-scene content party recaps. But here's the uncomfortable truth. Not all of it is actually moving product. And that's where marketers need to wake up. Because there's a difference between attention and influence. Just because someone has 500,000 followers does not mean they have 500,000 buyers. And at Coachella, you see a lot of this. Content that drove visibility, but not necessarily conversation. So what's the lesson? Don't confuse reach with results. If you're a business owner, you need to ask, is this influencer driving awareness? Or are they driving action? Because those are two very different strategies. And if you don't define that up front, you're just lighting money on fire in a very aesthetic desert setting. Now, let's talk about the part that nobody likes to talk about: risk. There was a situation involving Starbucks and an influencer, and it created backlash because the influencer's audience didn't align with the brand's perceived values. And suddenly, what was supposed to be a marketing win became a reputational conversation. This cuts both ways. Brands take risk on when they partner with influencers, and influencers take risks when they partner with brands. And here's the reality: alignment matters more than reach. You can't just pick the biggest influencer, you have to pick the right influencer. Because if the values don't match, the audience will call it out immediately. And in today's world, that backlash doesn't happen quietly, it trends. Now, let's talk about the most interesting dynamic I saw: TikTok. Because if you scroll TikTok during Coachella, you'll notice something. A lot of content isn't about brands, it's about status. Who got invited, who didn't, who's in VIP, who's in general admission, who has an artist pass. It's a cultural divide playing out in real time. And here's the marketing implication: people don't just consume content, they compare themselves to it. That's powerful, but it's also dangerous. Because if your brand is only showing the elite experience, you may alienate the broader audience. So what's the lesson? Balance aspiration with accessibility. Yes, people want to see the VIP experience, but they also want to feel like they belong. The best brands do both. All right, let's bring this home. Because if you're running a business, you're probably thinking, what does Coachella have to do with me? Everything. Here's your playbook. Number 1, create access. Give people something they want to be part of. Number 2, repackage your past. Your old content isn't dead, it's dormant. Number 3, borrow relevance. Partner with people who already have your audience. 4, define influencer ROI. Know if you want awareness or conversion. 5, protect your brand. It's greater than audience size. 6, build the balance, experience, aspirational, and inclusive. Because marketing today is not about control, it's about perception. So whether it's Bieber making a comeback, Madonna redefining relevance, or influencers turning the desert into a content machine, Coachella is showing us one thing loud and clear: marketing is culture. And if you're not paying attention to culture, you're already behind. If you enjoyed this breakdown and you want more marketing insights through the lens of pop culture, do me a favor. Hit the like button, subscribe to the Marketing Encore, because we're doing this every single week. And hey, if you can help me grow this channel enough, maybe, just maybe, you'll see me live at Coachella 2027. And trust me, that content will be worth the price of admission.